you could see yourself in my eyes, you'd see you shine, you shine. I know you'd never leave me behind. I am lost this time. Are we destined to burn, or will we last the night? I will hold you till I hold you right. If only you could see yourself in my eyes.
All right, welcome back to Morning Coffee with Rick Alexander. Of course, the Clarity Academy registration is officially opened as of yesterday. If you're interested in figuring out a little more about who you really are and what you want out of this life, then the Clarity Academy is great for you. If you're interested in pushing fast forward on your own personal growth, then the Clarity Academy is great for you. And then lastly, I want to say this. Most of what we're taught in this life is to, we're always taught to look for the systems and the habits that other people have put in place because they work, right? Like success leaves clues, and so we always look for those clues. But the reality is that if your brain isn't hardwired in the exact way that the person who created that habit is, it might not work for you. And so sometimes we read these personal development or personal growth books, and we try to implement what they're saying, and they don't work for us, or we get frustrated, or we're not getting the results that we wanted. That's because you have to set up your lifestyle for the way that your personality, your brain, your coping mechanisms, your life, the way that you're wired requires a certain environment. And so with the Clarity Academy, my favorite part of the Clarity Academy is the fact that we build our lifestyle based around who we are wired to be. And we find that we're much less frustrated because we're not trying to put ourselves in systems and trying to implement habits from other people that they say might work. Because the reality is it's a little bit of a crapshoot whether they actually work for us or not. So if you go to rickalexander.com, click on the Clarity Academy, you can register, and the next one starts at the beginning of April. All right, so today I'm going to kick off a new series, and I'm actually going to finish this one. So it'll be, the next 4 episodes are going to be the 4 laws of a worthy struggle. And struggle is something that's so intimate to me, right? Because, I struggle a lot, but also because I've chosen to take a life path where struggle is innate. And sometimes I think we get the wrong idea about growth because being growth-minded is kind of in vogue right now. It's kind of sexy. It's sexy to be an entrepreneur right now. But the reality is you step into this life that you want, struggle sucks. Like it does a lot of things to you, and you have to understand it, and you have to understand yourself so that you can navigate struggle a little bit better. And so with these 4 laws, I think we really get into how to deal with struggle in your own life. And I'll try to put that in as many different contexts as I can. So depending on the situation that you're struggling in now, you might be able to resonate with some of what I'm talking about. So today we're going to talk about Law 1. And Law 1 is struggle should always cause expansion. Because the process of growth is inherently painful. It hurts our body. So like a good way to think about this is growing pains, right? So when you're growing, it hurts. Well, the reality is it normally hurts in life too. You don't want to put up with it voluntarily if the end result isn't you growing into a better person or a bigger version of yourself. That's the only reason to struggle. That's the only time that struggle is acceptable if you're going into it yourself. Now, sometimes we are thrust into struggle and there's nothing we can do in that situation except for look at the silver lining, look for what we could learn, look for where we can grow. We can do our best, right? But if you're entering into a situation like a job or a relationship or a hobby, maybe you probably aren't going to struggle for a hobby you don't love. But if you're voluntarily going into a situation that causes struggle, then it has to cause expansion. Otherwise, you are wasting your time and everybody's time involved, right? There's no reason, like pain is inevitable in this life. Nobody gets to get out of pain. Like it's just a part of this human experience. Struggle is the exact same way. Well, and I think the correct way to think about that is if you are entering into struggle by your own volition, it's got to get you closer to the person that you actually want to be. I see this one in relationships way too much. So you guys know, like if you're in a relationship, that person it's a cliche, but they're like, they make me want to be a better person. Well, that's real shit. Like they should make you want to be a better person. They should inspire you every day to be better. And that's what makes all of the work that you have to put into making a long-term relationship last actually worth it. And a lot of times people I've been in this situation in my own life. It's like you're in a relationship and you don't like who you are when you're with that person. Like they know the buttons to push. They know for whatever reason, they know inherently like just get your coping mechanisms and they fuck with them, like whatever that looks like for you. But if they're not making you a better person, then why are you putting in the work for the relationship in the first place? Because that's what it is, right? Like after the honeymoon phase, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort to keep things going. It's a lot of discipline. It's a lot of, I mean, you're saying no to every single other person in the world if you're in a conventional relationship. And so if you're going to say no to every other person in the world, then that needs to make you a better person. Like bottom line, we have a very finite amount of time on this earth. You're going to go through pain and struggle either way. At least choose to struggle on your own. And you know, I've told this story a bunch of times before, but I think it really highlights this idea of going through pain and going through it voluntarily, because a lot of times in my hobby, which is ultra endurance athletics, a lot of times people say like, you're not going to be able to walk when you're older, you're going to be in pain, your knees aren't going to work, your hips aren't going to work, like yada yada, whatever, insert excuse. But here's the deal. I did 100K last year. It was the most painful race I've ever done in my entire life. And I remember I had finished and I was skiing the next weekend, and I was at the bar, and the bartender was like, "Hey, I need to slip in the back." And he leaves for a minute, and then he comes back out, and he's like, "Yeah, I just had to take a Percocet because I had to work a 4-hour shift today. I can't stand for 4 straight hours, so I take a Percocet." And in that moment, I realized something that's so crucial about life. And that is this. The whole entire weekend before, day and night, I went through some of the most painful physical experiences in my life. And the reason I did that is because I chose to go meet pain out in the mountains and in the woods. And I'll never have to take a Percocet to stand for 4 hours. I'm just choosing my pain differently. Bottom line, like everybody's going through pain. I think if we're all going to go through pain, then we should go through it in a manner where we get to actually choose the context and the environment. We can go meet pain on our terms, instead of living a sedentary, life trying to avoid pain our entire lives and letting it come to us. Because bottom line is, you're not getting out of this thing alive. You're not getting out of this thing without pain or struggle. If you're going to go through it, why don't you dictate the terms and conditions by which you're going to struggle? Because then you get to choose that growth, that a better you is on the other side of it. And the downside is, like my man behind the bar, if you wait your entire life, well, then pain's going to come to you anyway, but it's going to be on its terms. And you're going to have to take a pill to stand for a couple hours, or whatever that looks like, right? We could abstract that situation. We could apply it to a lot of different places in life. And so really, really think about that. Really be cognizant of the struggle that you're going through and the way that you're going about it and what that struggle is yielding. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later on Morning Coffee.
I'm so laid back, I'm my own worst enemy. Keep it all inside, bottled up bad energy. Then I hear the sound of this musical amphetamine, digging at my soul like the tracks full of ketamine. Never slowing down, fast forward's all I ever seen. Pockets never dry, man, you can call me evergreen. 2 bottles of wine, 3 teas, and some Vicodin. Every single night, same thing till I'm one I am. Always keep my shit locked tight, no oxygen. If you don't believe me, go kick rocks with some moccasins. Couldn't find the hipster to fix this on my rockin' man. Everywhere I go, I got the whole room talking, man. I know I've got all that I need, so I'll give to you all of the love you give to me, and we'll carry through. So endlessly, we will carry on through your energy. Every song we sing creates a memory. I wouldn't change for anything. Music is eternity, it lives in me eternally. Endlessly, we will come together like a symphony, and everything you do feels like it's meant to be. It's endlessly. Music is eternity, it lives in me eternally.
Say you wanna play this game with me, but you got way too much lag. Wish you had my game of tag. Wish I could be cut in half. Have to write your songs for you, the other half to spit your rap. Put this on my epitaph. I don't give a rat's ass. I don't even rhyme. I just whine really fast, and I ain't got the time. I'm just sand in the glass. This time you shine a pass, cause I'm the dragon smog. On my small axe move big trees. You still play with Lincoln logs. Why don't you go take a jog? Better yet, go kick some rocks. Let me guess, you got a bug. Follow trends like it's a job. I prefer to be myself. You wanna be like everybody else. Like a ticket, need some help. Gonna get scalped, Indian pelt.
I know I've got all that I need, so I'll give to you all of the love you give to me, and we'll carry through. So endlessly, we will carry on through your energy. this melody. Exactly where I'm supposed to be. My feet walk steady to my own heartbeat. I will carry on through the sounds of my soul. The love that we give will be repaid in full. And all that we are is under our control. So endlessly, we will carry on through your energy. Every song we sing creates a memory. I wouldn't change for anything. Music is eternity. It lives in me eternally.